Hello and welcome to the new podcast series with We Want Women. And thank you very much to Big Condo for having us. I'm Nic Hardman and this is KiAnn.
Hello.
And we're here today in the studio and we have a really exciting guest to share with you today. Her name is Ellie Floyd. She is a Liverpool singer-songwriter and we met her when she entered the Woman of the Week competition back in the very first lockdown, and we were astounded by her beautiful music and her voice. So we have her in the studio today. Please welcome Ellie.
Hi.
Hi, Ellie.
Oh, it's so nice to be here.
Thank you for coming. So tell us a little bit about yourself. I said you were a singer-songwriter, but tell us a bit about how you got into music. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Yeah. So, I've been songwriting and singing and playing keys for absolute years now. Got my first piano because my mum basically got it for free off this man. She was like, "What are you doing with this piano?" He's like, "Well, you can have it for free if you can move it." So my mum was like walking across the road with this piano. Yeah. So this piano was in the house and I just sit there for hours. So I've been songwriting and singing for years. My music is a mixture of neo soul, jazz, and my new stuff's taking a bit of a folk twist as well, which is quite interesting. Been listening to Joni Mitchell a lot. So yeah, this last year I've been writing and recording my EP. So that'll be 4 songs. Hopefully, if everything goes to plan, that'll be released by mid next year.
Very exciting.
Yeah, so that's all about relationships and breakups, and I think for a lot of people, especially this year, they've been like tried and tested. So yeah, so that's the main focus, and then a focus within that is the female experience of it. So that should be quite exciting.
That sounds really exciting. Yeah. Speaking of female, we do have a question about that.
Yeah.
How is it for you as a woman in the performing arts? What's your experiences, good and bad?
Well, in terms of live performance, that's more of a new experience. So I had a gig in February just before lockdown, but I have been songwriting and singing and, playing keys for a long time. And I've had a discussion actually like with some friends and female artists about this, because I wanted to kind of like gauge, but is this just me or is this like a female thing? And definitely the common thread, I've struggled being assertive and being, being able to communicate and stand with conviction with my creative ideas.
Be taken seriously.
Yeah, I think as women in society, we're socialised in a way either not to be confident, not to be assertive, and I think to second guess ourselves, and I think especially young girls, they're not taught to know what they want and be able to communicate their needs and desires. And then I think you kind of get to this age now and you're like, right, well, this isn't really getting me very far, and it's kind of playing into the patriarchy's hands. So, I can't carry on, and it's been a long process really of working on myself. And I think the lessons I've learned this year is to know what I want and enforce my own boundaries. Don't allow myself to be deviated down a route I don't really want to go down, especially as an artist. And yeah, I think I think I've always been a perfectionist, and I think that's also come down to women aren't socialised to be a risk taker. And it's got to be just right. We can't afford to make mistakes. But that's been quite debilitating, as an artist. Nothing's ever done, nothing's ever perfect. You can always take something out, put something in, do another take. And I think being an artist, you've got to go, no, right now I'm ready to release it to other people. And a quote I've loved this year has been, imperfect action is always better than inaction.
Absolutely.
Because for years I wouldn't release anything because I was so scared of what other people would think. What if it's not good enough? And I've just kind of thought, no, I've got to just go for it now. And if anyone else is kind of struggling with those ideas, definitely recommend reading Women Don't Owe You Pretty by Florence Given.
I love that. I've not read it yet, but it's on my list.
It has been my Bible. It's been about,
Highly recommended then.
Amazing. So if there's any other women kind of struggling or thinking, oh no, that actually relates to me, then that book has like honestly changed my life. It was the best lockdown read ever.
Amazing.
And it's all about like enforcing boundaries, and as women, just being your true authentic self and not it's been so interesting as well, like what parts of me are because of patriarchy and what parts of me are actually me.
Yeah.
It's learning to show that vulnerability as well.
Definitely. And seeing that as a strength and being, you know, strong enough to show the world your vulnerability, especially when you're writing about really sensitive topics or raw things that have happened to you. Definitely.
It's as you say, isn't it? I mean, you're absolutely right. You know, that whole perfectionism and also the assertiveness, that's a really important word, isn't it? And these are women's issues. You know, that book sounds amazing. It's on my list as well. But I think, you know, bringing it back to women in the performing arts as well, it's about sort of going, okay, that's even more important actually.
Definitely.
Because as you say, and as you know, you said, Kai, you're talking about vulnerable parts of yourself where you're expressing yourself. So it's really important to have those boundaries and know, I think when you said about knowing what you want, that is super important.
Because it's being able to having that vision in your head and then act, especially as a woman, and then having it, you know, coming into real life form. There's so many obstacles along the way where you can kind of be pushed down different routes, and you've got to have that conviction and be like, no, this is my creative idea.
From brain to paper to voice.
Yeah, definitely. And being able to communicate what you actually want is a massive learning experience for me.
Well, for how young you are, you've definitely got your head screwed on.
Thanks.
Do we know how young or old you are? Do you mind just asking Ellie?
No, that's fine. So I'm 23.
23.
Yeah.
And you were saying before, you know, you referenced at this age now. I mean, do you feel that since you've been putting those boundaries in place and since you've been doing that, how do you feel? How long did it take you to get to that place? Like, was there a certain thing that happened that made you go, oh wow, I need to change something here?
I think I didn't have a great time in school. And then I moved away to university and I spent those years really trying to not stand out. Yeah. I was like, I just want an easy life now. You know, I think when you're in school and you're like the singer and you're in the musicals and stuff, it's very easy to be that kid. So when I went to uni, I just wanted to fit in. And then I think I got my job and I realised fitting in really isn't what I want to do. It's, you know, I need to stand out. Yeah. And that's definitely been the turning point for me. I can't just live a normal 9-to-5 life. I want to, you know, really push my music now. And so I think that's definitely been, and, you know, a few relationships along the way that I've reflected and thought, why did I put up with that? Why did I not just say no and assert myself? You know, I've got some good songs out of it, so it's okay.
You get amazing songs out of personal stuff like that.
Definitely.
We're excited to listen to those as well. And
yes.
You know, a bit later we're going to listen to some of your stuff, so that's going to be really exciting.
Yeah, definitely.
Cool. So, thank you for talking about that. So obviously this health pandemic has been so stressful.
Yeah, definitely.
And people have had lots of different experiences as well, you know. So how has it been for you? What kind of things have impacted you over COVID-19? And has it changed how you've been making music?
Yeah,
Has it changed your mentality? What sort of things have been going on for you?
So through lockdown, I was really struggling. I had a gig back in February, so I performed at the British Music Experience Museum, and I absolutely loved it. You know, it was a really new experience for me performing live, and I think I definitely got the bug. And I was like, right, okay, so this year, as the beginning of the year, I was like, I really want to gain experience performing live,
you get
gigging.
better every single time.
That's it.
It's one of the things I've struggled with.
So I was like, that is going to be my sole focus. You know, I've wrote songs for years, I've played keys for years, I've recorded for years, but I've always shied away from performing live. So I was like, right, that's going to be my year. And then obviously a few weeks later, lockdown, and I was like, okay, so what I wanted to do and the plan for my year has completely gone out the window. And I don't really deal well with like things deviating from my own like plans. I'm definitely a planner. So I thought, right, I need to do something. I can't just do nothing. It's the only time in my life I've had to solely focus on my music. I'm a trainee solicitor, and for years I've been, you know, at uni with exams and busy with work. So I thought I'm not going to have this time in my life to just solely focus on my music. So I started a lockdown series. So I was just releasing some covers every week, every Thursday, just because I thought it'll introduce me as an artist and as a pianist and singer, and try to gain a bit more of a following. I entered the Women of the Week competition, which was amazing, such a good idea. And And I had a really good feedback from that. And then in the background, you know, I had a few personal experiences, which I think a lot of people did with COVID, and you're dealing with the isolation. You know, you're not around your friends, and then you're going through your own personal problems, because I think COVID and lockdown brought a lot of problems just in your day-to-day life, with relationships with certain people, you know, certain friendships or relationships with your family. I think you're dealing with a lot.
It certainly magnifies stuff.
Magnifies everything tenfold. So I was songwriting in the background. So I've written 4 songs for my EP. So creatively, I think it was different, but it was good because I had no distractions, and I was completely immersed into my music and my art. But from a development, I cannot wait to perform live again and, you know, have an audience.
You definitely do catch a bug.
Yeah, and I think, so that's something I really can't wait for. So even though I'm happy, you know, I've got really good songs that might not have happened if we weren't in lockdown. And, you know, I got my lockdown series. I've started to get more of a following.
That's great.
So I can't complain about that. But from a mental perspective, it's been really, really tough. And yeah, I can't wait for a bit more of a normality, really.
It really sounds like you've actually embraced this opportunity, and you've managed to really be creative during that time, amongst everything else, even though it's been really difficult for you.
It can be such an amazing release to take those struggles, especially when you are so isolated from people. You feel really kind of closed in.
That's it.
Having that as almost like a diary.
Definitely. It is literally
one of
like
the best coping mechanisms.
It is literally a diary. That is like the perfect way to describe it. And for me, I've always struggled to songwrite if I'm happy. If everything in my life is going well, I'm like,
so tragic.
Yeah, I'll sit down at the piano, and be like, right, I'm gonna write a song, and I can't, or whatever I write, I'm like, oh my god, that's awful. The minute I'm sad, I can write like 10 songs in like an hour.
Your muse and my muse are friends. That's definitely
literally.
I think we seem to have a very similar kind of writing style.
I listen to happy songs. I'm like, I'd love to write a happy song, but I just can't. It's just like me, like I have to be emotional, and I think I have to be really low, and that's when I get the most raw, dramatic. That is like, that's when I'm at my best, I think, creatively anyway.
So what would you say is one of your biggest inspirations, whether it's an object, a person, an experience for your music?
Well, I think along the lines of dramatic, Stevie Nicks, every day of the week. She is a queen. So when I was 16, I mean, I've always loved Fleetwood Mac. And when I was 16, my mum was like, right, I've got a surprise. And she picked me up after school. She was like, we're going to see them live. And I was literally crying. She'd saved up for like months and months for these tickets, and I had no idea that we were going. So we went, and I remember it was the first time in my life that I've seen, she sang the song Landslide. It's one of my favourite songs ever. And for the first time in my life, I saw complete strength of a woman standing alone in her own right, commanding the stage in the way that she does best. And I saw the strength in her singing really raw and honest lyrics, and a really emotional song. And, you know, it always gets me emotional no matter when I listen to it. And that experience, especially like hearing her sing it live and perform it live, has just always stuck with me. And I think like one of the lyrics I love in that song is the child within my heart. I just love the idea of like having your younger self carrying your younger self through life with you. And I always think, like, what advice would I give my younger self? Or if I could tell my younger self what I'm doing now, like, would they be proud? And
would they believe you?
Yeah, would they even believe, like, would it be like in the realm of like their imagination at that time? And I just love that idea. I love that lyric. Like, I literally get goosebumps even thinking about it. And then I think as I've gotten older, it resonates differently. I think it's one of those songs you can take so much from it, and it will always mean a lot to me, but at different stages in my life, I'm going to take different things from it.
And I think the same lyric can mean different things
exactly.
Well.
And now when I listen to the song, I think it's something, it's like new beginnings, and accepting that the past will not continue forever, but that's okay.
It's reminiscent.
Because I've always struggled with change. because it completely throws me off my plan or the path I thought I was going to be on. And but then 9 times out of 10 in hindsight, and it's definitely in hindsight, I have to not be dramatic, a few years down the line I've got over it, I look back and think, do you know what, even though that was so far from what I wanted at the time, it was one of the best things that's happened to me in hindsight, but it was not what I wanted. And I think that song, for me anyway, is like, it's okay to just accept the past and accept what has gone before. It can't carry on forever, nothing can, but that's okay. And there is going to be a new beginning. Like, I just imagine Stevie Nicks like in the snow with like her like shawl. I just love it,
doing the twirls on stage.
She's just an icon.
What
I just
a
love her.
beautiful inspiration as well. I mean, we are serious to say we all love Stevie Nicks here.
Love Stevie.
But amazing, and so amazing that you had that experience with your mother as well. You went together.
Well, she was, so it's only ever been me and my mum. Up until recently, she's met like an amazing man, and he's just amazing. She's had another daughter, but growing up, it was only ever me and my mum, and she worked so hard. And I love that I've had such an intense connection and relationship with my mum, which I probably wouldn't have had if my dad was around. And I just think she's like, again, I'm gonna put her up there with Stevie Nicks, iconic. And I loved having that experience with my mum, because she's always like played the piano herself and has sung, but because she had me quite young, she's never really, done anything with it. And it was just such a nice experience to have like with my mum, and she's played such a big part in me being an artist, like getting my first piano and lugging it across the road, and and asking the man, she was like, can I have this piano? Like, you know what, she's like,
I'm assuming then, being such a rock in your life, that you've written a lot of songs about your mum.
I
just love her.
So beautiful.
Yeah.
And and the way you talk about your art as well, and those amazing inspirations that you've got, it doesn't surprise me hearing that now as to why you have got such a beautiful songwriting style.
Thank you so
and
much.
I want to just talk about that with you, because we're going to see a performance of yours right now. So let's take a look at that.
Two and a half years of my life gone overnight. I hope she was worth it, 'cause you told her that she was. She doesn't look a thing like me, and I don't know if that would help me, but maybe if she did, I know you didn't lie about our love. I'm grieving for the life I could have had, the house we'll never move into. I'm grieving for the ring I'll never wear, the old skin we won't grow into. You promised me it was forever. I believed you when you promised the world. I have to accept I lost my heart to a fraud, and try to refine my sense of worth. One day you might realize what you had when you're lying alone. Meanwhile I'm sleeping fine, not scared about the strangers in your phone. You didn't even know her full name, just her body and her sex talk. That's all it took to wash away the years of my love. I'm grieving for the life I could have had, the house we'll never move into. I'm grieving for the ring I'll never wear, the old skin we won't grow into. You promised me it was forever. I believed you when you promised the world. I have to accept I lost my heart to a fraud, and try to refine my sense of
So tell us a little bit about what that song is about, just briefly.
Yeah. So it's called The Life I Could Have Had. So during lockdown, you know, I went through a breakup and he cheated on me in lockdown. So yeah, it was a really, really difficult time.
Let's not say the words that we're thinking.
Yeah. So I wrote that song in the midst of that. And, you know, I think a lot of people, when you listen to breakup songs, they're quite, like, revengeful or they're quite song and, like, pity me. For me, I found it more of, like, a grieving process because you think that, you know, you're so sure with this person and then you're going to have a future with them and it's going to go a certain way. And then obviously something happens that you've not accounted for and then you're grieving for, like, the loss of that life.
Yeah.
And I think that that's kind of what the song's about, really, of the life I could have had, and kind of grieving for that, but then also at the end of the song coming to, like, a conclusion, like, I'm okay. That was the life I could have had. I'm happy that's not the life I've got now.
Yeah.
Like, so I think that's been the journey with the song.
You can really hear that. I mean, it's such a gorgeous, heartfelt song.
Oh, thank
the
you.
way that you performed it as well. You know, thank you for sharing that.
Oh,
Really
thank you
hits
so
home with
much.
that. Gorgeous.
Ellie, want to thank you so much for coming in today. Where can our watchers and listeners find you?
So I've got an Instagram, which is Ellie Floyd Music. I've got a YouTube account as well, which is the same, so Ellie Floyd Music, and a Facebook, so same throughout. So yeah, I'm quite easy to find.
Good consistency. Good planning went into that.
Yeah, definitely.
Ellie, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you so much for having me. It's been a pleasure. Thank you.
So make sure you check out the other shows with We Want Women podcasts. You can find us on Facebook, www.wewantwomen.co.uk. That takes you right there. And also we're on Instagram too, /We Want Women. See you again.